what I have found is that the most prosperous people I have ever met have been the most generous people I have ever met. And their generosity grows out of a deep sense of gratefulness and living every day in the practice, not just the feeling of generosity. Parker Palmer says this: the heart's alchemy can turn suffering into community, conflict into the energy of creativity, and tension into an opening towards the common good. So, one of the things that I've offered this month for us to engage in as a spiritual practice is something known as the Examen. It was developed by the 16th century mystic and founder of the Jesuits, Ignatius Loyola. And it's a 5-step form of prayer. It's a way for us to review the day. Many people do it at noon or, around midday as they look at the beginning of their day, and it gives them an opportunity to reboot. Or it's totally appropriate to do at night before we rest as a way of reviewing the day and then preparing for the next day. But what I'm going to offer today is that we do this practice thinking about those little dragonflies, or more metaphysically, thinking about Scipio's dream. So again, the practice is very simple. We simply begin by becoming aware of God's presence, of the divine beingness that pervades all things, that brings us to that sense of deep connection. And we just open ourselves to that wisdom as it allows us to review the day. And then we review the day and we just become aware of what our emotions are. And we take one or maybe 2 items from the day and we take them to prayer. One is we focus on one that is growing, that we can continue to be grateful with. And the other is we focus on something that we may want to change. And then we take these things into an experience of prayer. And in doing so, we then begin to look forward to the coming day, of how we can be just a little bit more generous, just a little bit more grateful. So let's do that now. Settle in. Allow yourself to just be present. And imagine that there's this opportunity just to sort of float above where you are. Just look down at yourself, sitting in your chair. Observe yourself. Just being aware that there is a divine presence that begins to lift us even farther, above the rooftop of our home, above the community where we live. We can look around and see, that there are millions of people going about doing one thing or another. We could just allow ourselves to observe as we lift higher and higher to the point where we see the planet Earth as this beautiful blue jewel suspended in space. And now, in this place deeply connected, almost as the divine itself, we just invite this wisdom, this perception, to look upon our day, to see how the things that we are grateful for are sustaining and expanding and continuing, to see the things that maybe we could have done better, really in this perspective, as tiny, almost insignificant, something that with just a change in perception can change the whole reality. So we just allow this divine guidance to direct us on how we can correct these things. We feel what we're feeling, but we also know that whatever we're feeling, we can move to a sense of gratefulness. We can move to a sense of generosity, of expansion, of connection. And we just let that presence move us forward into the day, blessing it and giving thanks. And in closing, remembering the words of Albert Schweitzer, the greatest thing is to give thanks for everything. He or she who has learned this knows what it means to live. They have penetrated into the whole mystery of life, giving thanks for everything. And so let's penetrate into the deep and great mystery of life. And so it is. Thank you.